No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Manouk, with Ezra Ginsburg. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss, stop me if you've heard this recently, another Winnipeg Jets victory. This one, their 8th in a row, a 4-3 victory over the New York Islanders. They head into the Four Nations break, having been victorious not once, not twice, not thrice, not thrice. I'll stop. Not 8 times in a row they've been victorious. They head out to wherever they may be going, the top team in the NHL. It wasn't their best performance of the year. It wasn't their best performance of recent memory, but nonetheless, it's still a 4-3 victory for the Winnipeg Jets over the New York Islanders. Gentlemen, good to see you again. We were last together about 8.5 hours ago. We're going to be together again in less than 12 hours with tomorrow morning's Illegal Curve hockey show. So this is the second of 3 shows within a 21-hour period. It's great to see you both yet again.
Just call us the Billy Mosienko of Winnipeg sports media, right? 3 shows in 21 hours.
Yeah, 3 goals in 21 seconds. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I like it. It works out with the math, right? It works out with the numbers. And you just mentioned it, Drew, not the best performance by the Jets tonight, but obviously that third period, guys, was enough to give the Jets a 2-goal lead. And obviously, the penalty kill comes up huge. We talked about it at City Place during the pregame show, right? The special teams advantage was clearly in the Jets' favor. And even though the Islanders had some dangerous looks, they weren't able to capitalize, and they made it interesting, obviously, with Kyle Palmieri scoring in the third period. But Connor Hellebuck flashed that leather on Casey Cizikas, made a big save there. And at the end of the day, guys, it might not be a Picasso, but the Jets will take it going into the Four Nations break.
That's just it, Dave. It's not the prettiest win by the Winnipeg Jets. They played a lot of that third period like they were, one leg on the plane to whatever hot destination so many of them are on their way to. So certainly not their best game, not a game that they're going to say this is how we want to emulate it, but they do just enough. They play really one dominant second period, and then they hold on in that third period thanks to their all-world goaltender, somebody we really haven't been discussing that much over this winning streak. I mean, how many of these wins have been, Connor Hellebuck specials? Not very many of them, which is a testament to, of course, the improved play and the all-around play of the Winnipeg Jets. But in this third period, Connor Hellebuck had to be at his best to keep the Winnipeg Jets in it, to maintain their lead, and ultimately to get them to a victory tonight in downtown Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the first time after 16 straight games of holding your opponent to less than 30 shots, and the Jets looked like they were on their way to doing that after the first 2 periods. But then the Islanders came to life, scored. They didn't score 16 times, but they took at least 16 shots in the third. I don't know where they ended up with, but they had
19 shots in the third period for the New York Islanders. So they had 10 shots in a 2-minute sequence. So I mean, that's going to obviously inflate the numbers. But that third power play that they had when DeMello went to the box for tripping, it was a firing range on Connor Hellebuck there.
Right. So they got up and over 35. But I mean, one of the things they showed on the broadcast in the third period that I thought was interesting was just to show you the body of work and the amount of shots, the fewer shots, that Connor Hellebuck is facing this season than any other. And so that, I think, is a testament to the team's commitment to defense, boys. And yeah, I mean, as he's right, it wasn't the best game ever by the Winnipeg Jets, but how significant was that Connor Hellebuck save on? Was it Palmieri who made that glove stop? It wasn't a save because he didn't get it in his glove, but He blocked it with his glove, turned his glove into a blocker, made the stop. from his stomach, basically, and made a real nice save to keep it a 1-goal lead for his team. And yeah, he comes up big. That's the reason why he's the number 1 goaltender in the NHL, is that you can sometimes need to rely on him, right, Ezzy? So yeah, it was an interesting hockey game overall. It was one of those games where, think about what we talked about today on the special edition of Illegal Curve. We talked about an Islanders team that doesn't score very often. And then suddenly they had 2 goals in the first period. Mm-hmm. Then when they scored their third, I'm like, I don't know if this Islanders team is going to know what to do with themselves having all of these goals. Now the Jets, we know that they are a team that isn't unfamiliar with scoring. They get to become the first guys, first team over 200 goals for in the NHL, and also the first team up and over the 80-point mark. So a lot of firsts, a lot of things done. And again, the second 8-game win streak, Ezzy, pretty remarkable from this Jets club.
And I'm aware that I'm not using my Shure microphone, so all those comments, yes, I'm in a well, it's echoey. Give it to me all you want. I left my cord at City Place, or Dave has my cord, something like that. So I'm not able to use my Shure mic. So yes, I'll take all the criticism. I'm not sounding my normal crystal clear self, but there is a milestone that we're achieving tonight on YouTube. It is video number 2000 for the Illegal Curve boys. So that's significant. And we are very close to 3 million total views. So obviously we appreciate everybody joining us tonight, watching live on YouTube. But yeah, this is video 2000 for us. Broadcast, not necessarily broadcast 2000, but it's our 2000th video on YouTube. So that's pretty cool.
There you go. As you pulling out the random Dave M-esque facts that, usually Dave, we rely on Dave for those kind of insights, but as he decided to play the role of Dave Minuk on tonight's Illegal Curve post-game show, it's presented to you, of course, by our friends at Play Now. As soon as Scott Arniel is at the podium, we will bring him to you live here on the post-game show like we do. It's going to be the last time for a couple of weeks that we all get together to do these post-game shows. So enjoy it while we have it, because it's going to be 15 days until the 22nd of February, the Saturday night, when we're going to be live at Boston Pizza for a Saturday night edition of the Illegal Curve watch party and the Illegal Curve live on location post-game show, that we're going to get back together and do it again. So you can stay tuned for that, of course. Much more to come here on the post-game show. You mentioned the big save by Connor Hellebuyck in that third period. It came off the stick of Casey Cizikas. Love save. It was Palmieri who had scored for the Islanders to cut it to within 4-3. And then Hellebuyck just robs Cizikas on that one, where he flashes the glove and is able to keep the Islanders forward, looking up at the sky rather than celebrating a tie game. That's how close the Islanders came to tying this game up in what was definitely a sloppy third period for the Winnipeg Jets. Just sort of a weird start to the game, all in all. I mean, you got the Islanders getting that goal, and we'll get into the goal-by-goal recap here momentarily after we hear from Scott Arniel. We have the Islanders, opening the scoring on what looked like it was going to be a grade A scoring opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets. So just an odd sort of flow to the game, an odd start to the game, but the Jets really laid the hammer down in that second period, and then they held on. So again, not the prettiest effort, not the most effective effort, not as good of an effort as, compared to what we saw, Tuesday night against Carolina or some of the games on the road trip. But any which way you cut it, the Jets had 5 straight games against Eastern Conference opponents, and if there was ever going to be a lull against the East, this would sort of be it. You're close enough to the break. You don't play these Eastern Conference teams very much. There's not a lot to get excited for. As we've seen all year, the Jets just take care of business. They win those 5 in a row, Dave. They go into the break winners of 8 straight. It's hard to really use too much hyperbole. We've talked about it, but I do think that ending the 5-game road trip, ending the pre-Four Nation break portion of the schedule with a victory on home ice tonight has a little bit of significance for how impressive this Jets team has been through 2/3 of the season.
I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, look, they haven't had Adam Lowry. They haven't had Morgan Barron. We're getting to be broken records. They won't be having them for, I suspect, for the St. Louis game, possibly the San Jose game back in Winnipeg. So to me, the fact that they've continued to just not miss a beat, get guys into the lineup. Brad Lambert comes in, he plays, gets his first point of the season. I thought he had a couple of rushes or a couple of plays, I should say, where he was noticeable. And I just think that this is a Jets team, Drew, that you didn't want to see them. Like, again, it wasn't a traditional Jets win, but also the Islanders have been very good, right, Ezzy? So you have to give them credit. But to me, that one of the things that you would want to see from this Jets club is the fact that they kind of buckled down in that middle frame, got things back kind of to playing a little bit more like Jets hockey. And yeah, they're going to go into the break knowing that they've won 8. They've become the first team to over 80 points, and they've given themselves additional points in the standings bank. So yeah, and remember, one of the key points that I think we're kind of leaving out is it's going to be a crunch from the end of the Four Nations to the playoffs. But the Jets, because they played so many more games, not so many more games, but more games than other teams, won't have nearly the congestion that maybe some of these other teams that have played less, like Dallas or Colorado. I don't know if Colorado's played less. They probably have, but maybe not by much. But the fact of the matter is the teams that have 2 or 3 less games than Winnipeg to this point may have a little more congestion coming on the other end of this Four Nations tournament.
The Colorado's played 56 games, so is the Jets. In fact, I think the Avs are in action tonight. They're 4-all against Edmonton. So Colorado will have actually played an extra game than the Winnipeg Jets, which is sort of
I think Dallas is 2 or 3 less than Winnipeg.
Yeah, Dallas is at 53 games, and then most everyone, the LA Kings are actually at 51 games, so they're way behind the Winnipeg Jets. But you're right, Dave. You look at the schedule when they come back, it's not as crazy as it could be. It's usually 3 or 4 games in a week, but that's sort of standard operating procedure. There's not any of the 5s and 7s or 6 and 8s, or that we've seen really in the real significant part earlier in the schedule when the Jets just seemed like they were absolutely being ground down by the schedule. They shouldn't have that for the final 25, 26 games of the season, Ezzy.
And this is a rare case where Jets fans are actually hoping or cheering for the Colorado Avalanche, because the Jets have such a big lead on the Avalanche. They're not a threat. It's the Oilers who you're trying to beat out for tops in the Western Conference, right? So I would think that the Jets fans would probably be happier with a clean Avalanche win as opposed to the Oilers getting a point or possibly 2 points. I think we're going to go to Scott Arniel right away here.
Yes, I believe indeed we are. Here comes the Winnipeg Jets head coach, Scott Arniel.
It's gone? How come? Huh? This time.
So you tell the guys if they made it 8, they'd get 2 weeks off, or what?
Yeah, you know what? The way the first period started, I wasn't sure some guys had already taken off. But no, you know what? It's a great way to go out. We finished this on a real good note, and against a desperate Islander team, and found a way to get ourselves another 2 points.
What went into turning the tide in the second and taking over?
Yeah, we just didn't have everybody on board. We weren't quite engaged. Gave up, I think, 4 odd man rushes, something that we're not, we don't usually do those type of things. And, we really got back to getting our F3 over top of people, making sure we had numbers, kind of eliminated that. And then we got playing a lot faster, way faster than we did in the first.
Cole Perfetti was asked sort of what this team has learned. He was talking about, well, hey, Januaries of years past, there have been little dips, but there hasn't been a dip here. You're on an 8-game win streak. And he said that it was about not letting the last shift affect the next shift. Is that what you're seeing from your team, and how are you instilling that in your guys?
Yeah, I think that, you've heard me say it enough that you learn your lessons as you play the games. You win games, you learn things. There's areas you need to improve. You lose games. You have to move forward. But the biggest thing this group has done is put stuff behind us, whether win or loss, whether you individually had a great game or a bad game, like you mentioned, whether it's a shift, but we talk more about game to game. How we respond the next night is what I've always tried to, pound away here, and just making sure that, you do your homework, we do our teaching and whatnot when things don't go well, even when things go well. And then you just move on to the next opponent. And the guys have done a fantastic job of staying focused and being in the now. And, we had talked about this season being in 3 segments, getting off to a good start, getting to Christmas, get out in front of people, hopefully, eliminate people, because you're all chasing that sort of playoff run. And then, the second half, that Christmas to now, can be, like you mentioned, the January sort of doldrums. And we had a lot of games at home, and I love the fact that we didn't take that for granted. We played really well here, and now the big push comes. Now the last 26 are going to be, the stuff that prepares us for game 83.
last one from me is about a very small picture thing, not the big picture at all. End of the PK, 2 seconds left, 3 forwards, 1 D, so DeMello can come in and complete that. I don't think I've seen that very often. What goes into choosing that?
More so that when they come out now, it works better when you win the draw. But at the end of the day, it has more to do that sometimes you get caught out with 3 defensemen, and no disrespect for all the defensemen out there, but they don't always know how to play forward. And sometimes it's a scramble. I don't think I would have done it if there was more than 5 seconds, but it just allows him to get right in the play right away and kind of end it, get our normal units out there.
After the morning skate in Washington, you were asked a question, and part of your answer was, I think there's a perception that our team is just about a Vezina goalie, that's all we are, but it's a disservice to your team. Throughout this 8-game win streak, how much do you think that points in reinforced? Because you've won in so many different types of ways, not just 2-1 games, if it happened in so many different fashions.
I think that's 56 games. I think we've found ways to get people, different contributions from different people, and whether that's individual players, whether that's lines, defense partners, whether that's our specialty teams, pulling our goalie, winning late, winning in overtime. I'd like to think we're a pretty well-rounded team, and that's part of what our group, I think, can be pretty excited about, that we on different nights, different people step up. And for me, you need extremely strong goaltending to win in this league. We obviously know what we have there, but the biggest thing is how much of a contribution we're getting from everybody. We had a ton of injuries to our defense. We had people step up our depth. Look at what's happening right now with Morgan and with Adam and Morgan out. A lot of guys have stepped up. So that's the stuff that I see. That's why we're more of a team than maybe some people think we are.
Cole also talked about, as you mentioned before, about the shift by shift, moving on mindset and whatnot, but how in the past, obviously, you guys have had strong starts, and then kind of there's been that dip. But that mindset now amongst the team of taking things day by day, like how much have you seen an improvement in that, and how it could hopefully correlate to continuing success as the year goes on?
Yeah, that's growth, right? That's growth. If you're talking about Cole, you're talking about players on our team, it's growth for them. As they get better or older as players, but as a group, our whole group, it's growth from. We were in this position last year where we were at different times. We were in first in our division, or first in the league, and maybe never being there before, maybe overwhelmed us or whatever it might be. Or I think that's one thing that we've been sitting atop the league here, and we're getting the best of everybody, and it's been a challenge. And there's been games that have been pretty close to playoff type games. I think of the Colorado game. I think of the Florida game going back, the one we came home for, going into Boston. The Washington game was a big one. I don't know they're just recent, but the Carolina, we weren't sure. We hadn't seen Carolina. We know what they can do. So we've ran into games that I think that have sort of helped us recognize that when we do the right things, that we're a good hockey team.
To the point of Jacob's first question, and the perception of the outside media, they always come in. I can tell you bristle a little bit at the idea that you've got this goaltender who's kind of bailing you out. At the end of the game there, he does what he does, and clearly it's dramatic, and that's the kind of thing that stands out and sticks with people. But at the beginning of that game, the puck's going in, and your team kind of just takes over and says you just don't get to shoot on him anymore until he gets his feet underneath him. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you've seen from this team this year. Everyone knows what it looks like when Helly's here for this team, but maybe explain to us what you've seen from this team this year about the team being there for Helly in those moments.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can have great goaltending if you don't get run support. We know with Combs there, because we did it to him a few times where he's played great and we didn't score him goals. But, hell, he's afraid because he's the first to recognize it that, like tonight, we got down 1-0 and got down, tied it up. We got down 2-1, tied it up, took off in the second period and got the lead. He recognizes those things. And but that's part of what happens in 60-minute games is that there's ebb and flows. There's things that happen where momentum goes the other way. And, the other, we might need Helly. Or the momentum swings our way, we turn around and we went all like the second period where we were all over them and had multiple chances to blow that game away like we did. And I just think that that's going back to the original question. I think we're a well-rounded team and we find different ways to work together to win hockey games.
What's it been like to see the way that Gabe Velarde has blossomed?
Yeah, I mean, to reach career high in goals, and we're at game 56. It's impressive, and he's healthy. That's the biggest thing. That's the single biggest thing for me. He's staying healthy, and he's still playing hard, doing all the things. That line is extremely dangerous because he's 1/3 of that mix, and an important part of that mix. And that the biggest thing is him being able to play all the games so far. Yeah, thanks. You guys too. See you in a couple weeks.
There he goes, the Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel tonight after the Jets defeat the New York Islanders 4-3. The last time we'll hear from the Jets head coach for the next couple of weeks. Of course, as I mentioned, the Jets not in action again until the 22nd of February. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. So everybody enjoying a little bit of a break, but we'll still be here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Everyone else gets to take a break. We'll be here tomorrow. Next week.
Hold on, boys. We're not doing Four Nations face-off post-game shows?
We're not. We're going to enjoy the 2 weeks ourselves, but doing anything other than talking with one another after Winnipeg Jets games. But we still have tonight's post-game show to get through. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. It is the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now. Let's get into the recap. We do it period by period. We do it goal by goal.
The Play Now game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of Illegal Curve. Don't bet on legal sites. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Play Now is Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. You bet on Play Now, that money stays within Manitoba. It helps the province of Manitoba. So keep that in mind when you are placing your wagers. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. I mentioned that the Jets looked like they were primed to get on the board early in tonight's game. Dylan Samberg walking into what looked like a prime scoring opportunity, but blink of an eye and the bounce of a puck, and it turns out to be a New York Islanders opening goal 65 seconds into the game. Simon Holmstrom getting his 14th of the year. We talked about him briefly earlier today on the Illegal Curve, a special edition show live from City Place. He gets his 14th assist to J.G. Pajot of the Islanders, and it's sort of a broken play. The puck is, right there for Samberg. He loses it, bounces over a stick. The Islanders transition up the ice. It's a 3-on-1. Neil Pionk is the only defender back, and Holmstrom doesn't really look like he's trying to shoot. It's not, Connor Hellebuck looks a little awkward on the play. It's all around weird, but nonetheless, it's in the back of the net, and it's a 1-0 New York Islanders lead, Ezzy.
Yeah, you mentioned, Drew, we were talking about Simon Holmstrom. We were also just talking about that second line with third line with J.G. Pajot and Casey Cizikas, and how they've been really solid during the stretch here, where the Islanders had won 11 of 14 games heading into tonight's game. 11 of 15, I guess, if you want to be exact. But yeah, Holmstrom, we mentioned he was drafted just a couple spots after Heinola back in 2019, so he's a good player to keep an eye on. But yeah, originally, guys, I'm not sure about you or anybody else in the chat, but I thought J.G. Pajot got this. But yeah, it was just a weird goal all around. Unfortunate that the puck bounces over Samberg's stick at the blue line, right, Dave? And then the Islanders go back on a 3-on-1. And look, the Islanders, obviously, this is what you want to do, right? You want to get an early goal and take the crowd out of it. And as we know, the Jets came back on several occasions and tied the game up. But, these are the types of things that can sometimes happen, right? Like, nobody's going to be too hard on Samberg here. He's been phenomenal since returning to the lineup. But, that's all it takes in the NHL, right? When there's a puck skips over a defenseman's stick like that, and they're able to turn around. And Holmstrom might not be he's no Thomas Holmstrom. He's not a household name. But still a skilled player, as is evidenced by his 14 goals. But yeah, not the best start for the Jets. Even though, guys, I thought, overall in the first period, like, they weren't that bad. Like, right, remember Gabe Vilardi? Dave had a scoring chance right off the hop. The Scheifele line started the game, right? So like it was just an unfortunate break for Sandberg and the Jets.
Well, and it's funny, Ezzy, because that's, the first 18 seconds of that period, you're like, okay, the Jets are ready to go. They're off to a good start. And you're right. It was a nice defensive play leading to a good offensive play where, Gabriel Velarde, I think, was set up by, was it Mark Scheifele? I believe it was Scheifele who got him the puck, and then and Sorokin made a nice stop. But the fact of the matter is that, you just thought, okay, the Jets are pressing, they're going to push, and, here they go. And then a minute 5 into the game, they're down 1-0 on like Drew had said, what looked like it was going to be a great A for Dylan Sandberg ends up a bit unfortunate for him. And then they turn around and score it. I don't need to go into the goal you just did, but I just thought it was funny because it looked like the Jets were going to have a good start and good momentum. And then the Islanders go and take it to start that period.
Yeah, exactly right. So 1-0 for the Islanders. The Jets, though, tie the game up at the 4:27 mark. So it doesn't take them long. It takes them 3 minutes and 22 seconds to tie it up. And it's a great individual effort by Alex Iafallo, his 8th of the year, assisted Dylan Sandberg and Brad Lambert. And Iafallo really picks up the puck in the Jets' own zone, and he skates it all the way up the ice. He sort of got Bo Horvat hanging off of him, and for some way Horvat doesn't get called for a penalty, and then he just sort of I guess he figures, I've been holding him this whole time, I should let him go before they actually do call me for it. In Alex Iafallo just keeps dropping his shoulder. It's just a strong power move to get in front of the net, and then he beats Ilya Sorokin, top shelf, with a great shot, a great individual effort. I know it's early in the recap, guys, but I got to do it.
Wow.
The Seagram shot of the game.
There's a number of options. There's not one that stands out.
No love for Nick Ehlers tonight, eh?
No, look, the Nick Ehlers goal, which is a tremendous pass from Cole Perfetti, and we'll get into that. I just think that this is an individual effort you don't necessarily see, and I'd love to give Alex Iafallo a
By the way, Dave, it's the Seagram shot of the game, not the Drew shot of the game.
It's true. It is the Seagram shot of the game. Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Seagram's 83. That's a very good option for you. Manitoba's favorite Canadian whiskey. Don't forget, though, about Seagram's VO, masterfully blended, distinctly Canadian. I know we're all sort of keeping a close eye on things of that nature. So our friends at Seagram's have a litany of products for you to choose from. But for me, from my perspective, it's just a great individual effort from Alex Iafallo, a strong power move. And, he's in tight, and he has to go roof daddy to beat Sorokin on this one. And he does so, Dave, to tie it up at a goal apiece.
And I think the most important part of this, Drew, is that he was using his backup hockey stick. It wasn't his original one. So kudos to the Jets equipment staff. And it was something we noticed in the press box because at 15 seconds before this play started in the Jets' end, Iafallo was without a stick. He was circling the zone because Neil Pionk had lost his stick. So Iafallo actually handed his stick earlier in the shift to Neil Pionk. And then Iafallo was just trying to, stay in the lane and try and create some chaos. Then when there was an opportunity, Eric Comrie actually handed Alex Iafallo's stick to him maybe 10 seconds before he got this opportunity. And I mean, first of all, it's a great individual effort. What the hell was Bo Horvat doing, though? I mean, Bo Horvat had
great question.
Honestly, I understand he's coming from behind, but he takes a very weird angle, and then rather than bodying him off the puck, he kind of goes behind him. It's just,
and he sort of pushes him towards the net.
Yeah, it was just a very unusual play by Bo Horvat. I thought he actually didn't have a very strong game. And
he also coughed up the puck earlier, right?
Yeah.
Brad Lambert intercepted the pass. He didn't corral it. It went to Sandberg, who passed it to Iafallo, right, Dave? But overall, you're right. It wasn't very good checking by Bo Horvat, who, by the way, is an excellent defensive forward, right? He's been known for being a really good defensive forward for the majority of his career. But I'm with Drew here on the IFL. It's just great use of shielding your body by Alex Iafallo and just sticking with it. And then he makes a nice move, cuts in, and it's a really nice shot that beats Ilya Sorokin. But you're right. I mean, I'm not sure. That was not a masterclass on how to defend by Bo Horvat there.
The only thing I could think of is that he's just gassed at the end of a shift and he's just got nothing left in the tank. So he's doing his best to try and tie him up, because it's just a very bizarre way of trying to, impede Alex Iafallo and give Alex Iafallo credit. He doesn't use Poison as his goal song, but he is using Beastie Boys so we'll give him that shout out. But it's a really nice goal. I mean, and it's a critical goal because, the Jets strike back and they get the crowd into it. And look, the crowd, great crowd. I have to give them credit. I don't know I think it was like 14-6 today, but a lot of
14,685 to be exact.
Yeah, there you go. So
don't forget about those 85 fans, Dave.
Yeah, my press box guess was wrong. I think I said 14-2 or 14-4. I can't remember. Connor Hrabchak was closest, actually. I think he said 14-7 or 14-8. But in Price is Right rules, you can't go over.
Don't you play Price is Right rules?
Yeah. Well, we don't have a formal way of doing things up.
Dave is the type of guy that loves, like, guess how many gumballs are in the jar. Like, Dave loves that stuff. I do too, by the way.
Yes. So look, it's
one,
just
two,
yeah, one for me, one for
three,
me, one for me.
4,
So
5.
all right, we got it, Drew. But
I feel like Drew just did a good like animated voice. Like Drew, I feel like Drew could be like a good voice of like a cartoon character.
I've been accused of being cartoon-like at times. So, if anybody wants me to start doing some voiceover work for them, I'm happy to audition and lend my voice to your cartoon.
Drew at illegalcurve.com, folks.
anyways, the point is that it's a nice goal, 3 minutes or whatever. So after they had just given up the lead and got the crowd into it, folks were excited and ready to go.
Yeah, 1-1 at that point in time. The Isles regain the lead. Again, another weird one. And it's another guy we actually happen to be talking about this afternoon on the Illegal Curve, the special edition of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, Mark Gatcomb.
I'll tell you this much, Drew. You're never going to forget that name now.
Oh, I won't. We were talking about how it's not a household name. He's not a player that immediately comes to mind as a dominant force, but he's Johnny on the spot. On this goal, which is just a bad ricochet of a Mason Appleton pass. It ricochets off of Neil Pionk behind the Winnipeg Jets net. Just sort of all sorts of a Keystone Cops play by the Jets after the Isles dump it into the corner. It doesn't seem like it's going to be dangerous, but Appleton and Pionk are too close to each other. The puck ricochets, and Gatcomb is there to backhand it short side past Connor Hellebuyck. And you're wondering, okay, sloppy play by the Winnipeg Jets, and all of a sudden the New York Islanders have a 2-1 lead, which is how the first period ended, Ezzy.
I got to unmute myself here. Yeah, and I mean, Gatcomb is the one who dumps the puck in, right? I'm not sure if you mentioned it was an unassisted goal, but it looks as harmless, as any goal you're ever going to see, because the Jets are in, the position where you're going to break the puck out of your own zone. And yeah, it's sloppy by Pionk and Appleton. Like, that's all I can really say about this. It's just not, I mean, this is the type of play where a defenseman goes back and gets the puck, and you make that pass to your forward, you break out of the zone, you do that 9.9 out of 10 times, right, guys? But it's just not a good backhand pass from Pionk to Appleton. And Gatcomb is, like you said, Drew, Johnny on the spot. He's right up the middle. And yeah, there's a little bit of forechecking pressure.
Kyle McLean is in on the forecheck, that he's the one who sort of causes a little bit of the chaos.
Yeah, there's a little bit of chaos, but it's nothing that should have resulted in an egregious turnover like that.
No.
So it's, again, the Jets end up winning this game, but that's the type of thing where, look, I don't know if you can just chalk that up, guys, to, this is the last game before a 2-week break. Because that's just very uncharacteristic of, like, Pionk and Appleton are veteran players that, like I said, like, they usually just don't make mistakes like that in their own zone. But again, the Islanders took advantage of it. And again, they don't end up getting a point in this game, but you give these Islanders credit. Like, again, I'm not sure if they make the playoffs. They probably don't. But again,
they're not making.
That's not the point.
Not a good hockey team.
That's not the point. Well, Drew, you win 11 of 14 games.
I
Even
don't
if
care.
that okay.
I mean, with all due respect, I don't. If the Islanders aren't selling at the trade deadline, then Lou Lamoriello is fooling himself regarding the caliber of a team that he has.
All I'm saying is it's impressive to win 11 of 14 games with all of the injuries they've had. Like, guys, there was no Matt Barzal tonight. There was no Ryan Pollock tonight. There was no Noah Dobson tonight. Like, I could go on here. There's no Simeon Varlamov as the backup. They're down to their fourth string goalie as their backup right now. All I'm saying is it's been impressive what they've been able to do, whether they make the playoffs or not. That's all I'm saying. And I agree with you. They probably should be sellers at the trade deadline.
In any event, 2-1 for the Islanders after 20 minutes. Unfortunately for them, the second period took place, and the Jets were the absolute dominant force in that second period, scoring 3 times to eventually, get the lead, game-winning goal. One of them. We'll get into each and every one of those goals. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Friday night. It's brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Gabe Vilardi gets his 23rd of the season to tie it up. That's coming at 4:23 into the second period. His 23rd assist to Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele. And this is just an exceptional pass by Kyle Connor to be able to find Vilardi. They're both going hard at the net. It's a turnover in the Jet zone. They transition up the ice. Kyle Connor just feeds it through 2 Islanders players. He feeds it through J.G. Pajot. He feeds it through Adam Boquist, and Vilardi is just on the far post, Dave, and he is able to put it past Sorokin. Kyle Connor was noticeable on his toes all game long, and you got to see him demonstrate his passing acumen on this one to tie it up at 2 goals apiece.
Yeah, and I think we'll start, at least I'll start, with crediting Mark Scheifele. I mean, good stick work in the defensive zone leads to this puck going from being in a dangerous spot to going back the other way. So Scheifele, intercepts a pass across, which ends up on the stick of Kyle Connor. And we've been covering Kyle Connor a long time, obviously since draft 2015, which we were in Del Boca Vista, Sunrise, Florida, Ezzy and I, enjoying some sun.
You guys had a nice date.
We did. We had some nice.
I'll tell you this much, Dave. I could go for some of that South Florida weather right now.
Well, today was beautiful. It was a gorgeous day today. I didn't expect it to be that nice, but yeah, you're right. And look, we watched him in Michigan. We've watched him with the Moose. We watched him here at the Jets. And what is the long preamble for? I don't know. I got to tell you, I've watched almost every single game this kid has played. That looked like video game speed. It was, of course I'm live. I'm watching it from the press box where everything seems slower. And even though everything seems slower, I just couldn't believe how quickly he accelerated from the Jets end into the Islanders end, and then fed that pass across beautifully to Gabriel Vilardi, who makes no mistake of it, gets it in, and nice. Of course, folks like the Macarena, so the Macarena is going crazy. But
I'm not Gabriel dance today, folks. By the way.
Good.
Asking.
Yeah, but well, actually, I didn't see anybody asking, Drew. But anyways, that doesn't matter.
No, Matt.
I'll be honest. I would like to see it.
But the fact of the matter is, look, Vilardi puts it in, and he ties his career high for goals, and he does it, I think, in 8 fewer games than he did it the last time with the Kings in 22-23. And one of the things that Scott O'Neill said after the game is just how good Gabriel Vilardi has been. And he's just been so integral to how good this team has been. And that first line has been, he's been such a good addition to that Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele duo. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful assist by Connor. Scheifele's interception won't get as much credit as he, but I think it deserves some merit or some mention, I should say. And yeah, real nice by Vilardi to get his, I think that was his 23rd goal, which of course tied his career high. And we know he's going to get past that in a few goals.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe's going to easily hit, and I'm calling him Gabe because we're obviously on a first name basis now.
Which is weird because he actually prefers Gabriel, but go on.
Yeah, or Mr. Vilardi. But I mean, he's easily going to hit 30 goals. Most likely he's going to be around 35 to 40 goals this year, right, Dave?
Yeah.
And I don't know what's more impressive, like Dave said, the transition. Scheifele makes a nice play intercepting the cross pass. And I don't know what's more impressive, the speed at which they transition up the ice or that pass, because we've seen the Scheifele line do this so many times this year, but they're playing with such a high level of confidence, and they're executing at such a high level that these plays that they're making, these passes just right exactly where they need to be, like tape to tape. These guys have found, like, to say that this line has chemistry would just be a massive understatement. Like they've had the chemistry since the early part of the season, if not, going back to last season when obviously they didn't have the impressive advanced stats that they have now, right, guys? We know that this line, the biggest improvement that this line has made has been on the defensive side of the game, right? But just an incredible pass. Again, precision pass is the way I would explain that. And obviously, maybe, Sorokin, he'd like to have that one there because he is there, but he's going right to left. But it's a pretty damn nice goal. So I don't know if you're going to blame, if you're the Islanders, you're going to be too upset with Sorokin here. To me, that's just all about the Jets' transition speed and just how well the Scheifele line is executing. Like, guys, all 7 goals tonight were at even strength. Like, there were no power play goals tonight.
No, it's weird.
Which is funny, as just to finish that point, because when we talked about it this afternoon, we had said, if this ends up being, I don't think that we said this exactly, but if this ends up being a special teams game, even with the improved play for the Islanders, that's to the Jets' advantage. And like you said, it's rather remarkable that all the goals were, in fact, at even strength.
Jets get their first lead of the game. It's off of the stick of Nikolai Ehlers, his 17th of the season. But as you saw on the TV broadcast, he wanted to make sure that all the credit goes to Cole Perfetti. It's Perfetti's 23rd assist. Vlad Nemesnikov also chips in with the secondary assist. It's just a dump play. It's Neil Pionk. He puts the puck into the corner in the Islanders zone. Vlad Nemesnikov gets on his horse and pokes it away from the Islanders player. I believe it was Kyle McLean who was in back there trying to retrieve the puck for the Islanders, if I'm not mistaken on that one. Nemesnikov is able to poke it away from McLean, and then Cole Perfetti with just an absolutely brilliant pass to be able to get it from behind the net onto the stick of Nikolai Ehlers. Yeah, thank you. Nikolai Ehlers, who's Johnny on the spot there in order to give the Jets the 3-2 lead. It's a great forecheck effort by Vlad Nemesnikov, a beautiful pass by Cole Perfetti, and great shot by Nikolai Ehlers to give the Jets the 3-2 lead.
Yeah, I mean, guys, you just mentioned brilliant, Drew. Like, I know with the higher minds on this show, you don't throw that around lightly, but this really is a brilliant pass by Cole Perfetti, and it's like all Nikolai Ehlers wanted to do was give him all of the credit. And you have to love, guys, how much fun these guys are having on the ice, right? They're obviously having the most success that they've had all year long. We know that. I mean, Perfetti went through that long goal drought, but since he was hard on himself and since he said he was going to be hard on the opposing teams, we've just seen a different player flat out, right? 9 points in 7 games now, I believe. So it's really impressive. And there's not much more else you can say, Dave, on this goal. I mean, it's a behind the back pass. It's the Jets' second line versus the Islanders' fourth line. So it's obviously
we talked about that this afternoon.
And that's a mismatch.
An area for a mismatch.
Exactly. That's a huge mismatch. You're absolutely right, Drew. And, again, the top 2 lines now, just the way they're executing, like we saw some pretty goals tonight. Like we talked about it. This was not a dominant Jets win. The Islanders almost got a point in this game, guys. So, it's just really impressive what they're doing. And, to what we were talking about earlier, and Scott Arniel was asked about this after the game, we played it. The way they're finding wins, and the fact Dave has talked about this a lot, the Jets get down a goal, they get down 2 goals, or, they're down a goal and then they tied up, but then they get down a goal again, like they did tonight. They just come right back and make a nice play, right? Like, and that's the sign of a really good team, that they know they're down whatever the period is or whatever the deficit is. They know they have enough skill and they have enough confidence in their ability, to get it done. And that goal was as impressive as they get. And I've just been so impressed with Perfetti's play over the last couple of weeks.
No
Yeah.
question about it. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I mean, not much to add other than we just see again. We said today, right, Drew? We were like, oh well, it's 6 games. Well, now that's the 7th game where you're noticing Cole Perfetti more and more. There was a play in the neutral zone where I think he was called for a penalty, but still, you like the fact that he was being physical, and physicality sometimes will lead to the penalties. Of course, that's not ideal, but at the same time, he was engaged, and that pass was brilliant. I mean, it was. Again, we're not cheering.
You can't say brilliant, Dave. Drew already said brilliant. You got to find another word.
You can describe it as brilliant. I'm okay with
superb.
Our buddy Kenny Weeb on X called it exquisite.
That works too.
But I'm saying that it was audible gasp goal, like pass by Perfetti. You're like, oh wow, like what a play to really set that one up for Ehlers. And Ehlers, that's not a difficult one for Nikolai Ehlers. Still made it look nice for his 17th of the season, but yeah. It's an impressive pass. And look, Cole Perfetti, 5 assists, 5 straight games now with at least an assist. And as he said, 4 goals and 5 assists in his last 7 games. So for a guy who we were talking about him, we were saying, not because we're trying to find someone to pick on, but at the same time, elite. I think Patrick was right on that one. But the fact of the matter is he wasn't contributing enough, and you can't be on the second line and not contributing. And he is now contributing. So it's a big relief for him, I'm sure, to be able to go on the break as a contributor on this team and to be on a team that has now won 8 straight games.
3-2 for the Winnipeg Jets at that point. They make it 4-2 a little bit more than 3 minutes later. Gabe Vilardi.
But hold on, Drew. Before they made it 4-2.
Yes.
Again, I like to highlight the defensive plays, Ezzy, because even though they don't show up on the score sheet, they are critically important. And David Gustafsson was able to get back. And again, like I said, I don't remember who was the Islander who was in the position, but he basically comes and he intercepts what would have been a grade A chance for the Islanders with a good stick. And he really nicely sends the puck into the corner where it's harmless and it's not going to be a grade A chance for the New York Islanders. But like I said, it's just one of those plays where a guy doesn't get a lot of credit for or recognition, I should say, sometimes for these types of plays. But I just think it's something that's worth mentioning because it was a real nice play by Gustafsson in the second period, which, like I said, it was only a 3-2 game. I'm not saying they were going to score on it, but obviously preventing those is key. And that was a nice commitment to defense that we saw from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you for highlighting that, Dave, because it certainly allowed the Jets it killed a play for New York and allowed the Jets eventually to transition up the ice where they make it 4-2. Gabe Vilardi, second of the game, 24th of the season, assist to Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. And this is just, you have so many weapons on this line that I think the Islanders got a little bit out of sorts, to the point of, they left Gabe Vilardi all alone in the slot. Well, not 1, not 2, but 3 players went after Mark Scheifele with the puck, and those 3 players were Adam Pelech, Bo Horvat, and Anthony Duclair, if I'm not mistaken. I think I got the 3 of those right. And then Scheifele's like, okay, if all 3 of you want to come here, I'm just going to feed it to Vilardi all alone in between the hash marks. And he makes no mistake beating Sorokin with it. Another candidate for the Seagram shot of the game. A terrific shot. He beats Sorokin clean, and the Jets have a 4-2 lead on the strength of those 3 second period goals. A dominant middle frame for the Winnipeg Jets to allow them to have that 2-goal lead after 40 minutes, Ezzy.
Absolutely. And this was at the end of the shift, but this is still you just mentioned the players. This is the Islanders' top line versus the Jets' top line, right? So this is not, like we said before, this is not the Jets' second line versus the Islanders' fourth line. These are good players on the ice. And yes, it was at the end of the shift. They just looked tired. And I just thought, Dave mentioned Kyle Connor earlier. We all were talking about his beautiful pass to Vilardi on Vilardi's first goal. But, Connor, it's just everybody was mesmerized by what Connor was doing. And then, like Drew said, then Vilardi passes the puck to Scheifele, who looks like he might shoot it. And I think everybody thought he was going to shoot it.
Right.
And then so Scheifele, being the very intelligent player that he is, stops. And like you said, he sees, now it's just it was just horrible defensive coverage by the Islanders. And that's what was so surprising about it. And and again, I don't speak for you guys, but my own opinion on this is that's just how impressive. Like, this is a credit to the Jets top line more so than, criticizing the Islanders. Like this, they were just like looking around and not really sure, like, okay, who's going to shoot it? And, a lot of watching and standing around, and, a pretty savvy move by Scheifele, because most likely Sorokin stops that because it was a bit of a bad angle where Scheifele was kind of at the bottom of the circle there. But again, like, all I'm seeing is just with the Scheifele line and, to a lesser extent, maybe the Nemestikov, Perfetti, Ehlers line, but just confident players that are making just lots of skilled plays in tight, off the rush. They're just like, we haven't seen them play like this for this extended amount of time ever. Like, again, you go back to last year, guys, the Scheifele, Connor Velarde line analytically was not a good line. That's not the case this year. They're getting it done at 5-on-5. And again, this is just the Jets picking apart, to me, the Islanders defense.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Just confident plays, smart plays. The game is slow for the Winnipeg Jets, top two lines right now, and not slow in the sense of how they're moving, but slow in that they're able to process the game, almost be a half a step ahead of their opponents. Just that everything is unfolding sort of slowly in front of them. That being, just speaking to their confidence, Dave.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is I think the defenseman expected that puck to ram around the boards, and the way it hit Connor kind of caught them off guard. But you can kind of see them react, but they're a step slow. And when you're a step slow against a very fast Jets team, that especially against the top line, that's not a place you want to be. So I think the Jets got a fortuitous bounce there, but again, Dems the breaks. You take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, you would say the Islanders got two fortuitous bounces on
sure.
on their opening two goals of the game.
No question about it. So the Jets get one, I thought, for sure on that play, but like I said, they still had to execute afterwards, and they did, and they were able to capitalize and make it a 4-2 game.
And this is going to be the Ginsburg backbreaker of the game, right? Because obviously,
is that a new promotion we have? I didn't know we had that.
Well,
by the way, which chiropractor is sponsoring the backbreaker? Is he?
Yeah, good question. We'll have to get a chiropractor on board here, but we've never had a chiropractor on board, so maybe it's time. But when you score a goal like that late in a period, and that's late in a period, there's less than 2 minutes left, right? And we talked about it. The Islanders are not a team, one of the best offensive teams in the league. Obviously, they scored 3 goals tonight, so that's not bad. And they almost scored a 4th goal on Hellebuck when Cizikas had that chance, but and on the power play. But I just feel like that was kind of the goal where that was the insurance goal, right? Like, that was the quintessential goal where, okay, now you've turned a 1-goal lead into a 2-goal lead. And I just think those are backbreaking for teams.
Well, and Ezzy, remember, that was the goal that would have made your prediction the right prediction, because I'm fairly certain you said it was going to be a 4-2 game.
You said 4-2, but unfortunately they played the third period. And
Ezzy didn't know that. He thought it was only going to be a 40-minute game.
Yeah, I thought hockey was a 2-period game. Yeah.
Honest mistake. If the Jets thought the Islanders were going to roll over in that third period, they were sadly mistaken. The Jets certainly rolled over in that third period and relied on their all-world goaltender, Connor Hellebuck. They were badly outshot in that third, badly outplayed 19-6. The Jets take 3 minor penalties.
And by the way, Drew, weren't shots 3-0 to start the period for Winnipeg?
They were. And then the Jets got into penalty trouble. The Jets started taking penalties they took Cole Perfetti took a penalty a minute into the third, then Colin Miller took a penalty 6 minutes into the third, then Dylan DeMello took a penalty 13 minutes into the third. So all of a sudden the Jets decided they wanted to play with a little bit of fire, albeit against one of the league's worst power play units. And the first 2 power play opportunities that the Islanders had in the third period certainly looked terrible. They were both abysmal, but then the Islanders are able to keep the momentum, keep the ice tilted, and Kyle Palmieri gets his 15th of the season assist to Anders Lee and Alexander Romanov, who I thought was really good for the Islanders tonight. Of course, they acquired
Gabriel Velarde not happy with Romanov after one of the plays because he got punched in the back of the head.
I saw that. Yes, you're absolutely right. Romanov is a guy that they acquired from the Montreal Canadiens a couple of years ago, if you remember. And so the Islanders were really, they were teeing it up and they were firing everything towards Connor Hellebuck. And on this one, it was just a loose puck in front front. Hellebuck had made a number of saves already in the sequence, but Palmieri is able to jump on the loose puck, jump on the rebound, and put it into the empty net, his 15th of the year. And all of a sudden, in the last, with about 9 minutes to go in the game, it's a 4-3 contest. It's a 1-goal game. So things are getting a little bit tight around the collar for the Winnipeg Jets. And then really that DeMello penalty, he takes that tripping penalty 2 minutes and 4 seconds after the Isles cut it within 1. And the Isles had something like 10 shots on goal in that sequence, in that power play. They held the puck in the Jet zone for almost the entirety of that 2-minute man advantage. And Dave, if it wasn't for Hellebuck and if it wasn't for some exquisite goaltending, this certainly would have been a tie game going into the final few minutes of the contest.
I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, he was being just inundated with shots, and it was relentless by the Islanders. And it felt like we were watching a Hurricanes team, because it was a light show by them, just in terms of firing that many shots on net. But again, that's why you pay Connor Hellebuck the big bucks. He's the big man on campus. And again, that save, you'll be seeing that save on the highlight reels
on Cizikas. Yeah.
On Cizikas. Yeah. Because it was, I mean, again, it's no great insight, but I mean, it was a game save. Well, it prevented the game from being tied. And this is a Jets team that we know going into the third period, when they're up, they don't lose any games so far, I don't think, this season, or I think have they
in overtime. They haven't lost in regular. I think they're now 29-0-2, or maybe 30-0-2 after leading after 40
I
minutes.
didn't think it was that high. I thought it was 23. I thought it was 20. To be honest with you, I thought it was 22-0-2 when
look it
leading
up.
after 2. But yeah, I'm sure it's out there, Drew. But the fact of the matter is that they don't generally have even games where
the Jets are now 30-0-1 when leading after 2 periods.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Impressive. Yeah. Tracy had that, and your attacks had that. So we had a few folks in the chat who knew it off the top of their melons. But yeah, it's just a very impressive way that if your team doesn't have it. And I thought the questions the
amount of people right now in the chat going 30-0-1 is great.
Yeah, that's well. I mean, it's an impressive mark. It really is, and it's just a testament to, generally speaking, the way this team has played throughout the course of the season. And in that third period, you have to credit Connor Hellebuck, because he was incredible, and he was the difference maker. He kept the team in it, only gave up the 1, of course, and preventing stopping 18 of 19 shots, which in some of these instances almost are a full game for the Jets. But the Islanders, and credit them, because they've got a game tomorrow in St. Paul tomorrow, but they didn't leave anything out there. They tried their best. And as he mentioned it, I mean, you cannot list off the number of guys that they're missing on their back, throughout the course of their lineup. And they gave it a pretty good effort to try and at least tie the game. They don't get it. And impressive nonetheless that Winnipeg Jets are able to come away with the win.
1 goal too few for the Islanders, 1 goal more for the Winnipeg Jets. 4-3, the Jets defeat the New York Islanders tonight in downtown Winnipeg. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, more on tonight's game. Patrick Waugh had some comments regarding Connor Hellebuck that we will bring to you courtesy of our friend Darren Bombing. Much more to come, and of course,
was Patrick Waugh a good goalie, guys? I don't know. Could you tell me? Was he good?
I can't hear you. I got my Stanley Cup rings in my ears, but we'll have more on that. There you go. More on that, and more on tomorrow's Illegal Curve hockey show as well. Don't go anywhere. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Friday night.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue next to Canada Life Center. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal. Starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
20 minutes before the top of the hour, welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mindell, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg. Reminder, 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's the Illegal Curve Hockey Show right back here on this same YouTube channel, same social media platforms. The three of us are going to be joined by Kenny Wiebe. We're going to be joined by Kevin Woodley. We'll talk all about the Winnipeg Jets as the team heads to the break. We'll talk all about goaltending with Kevin Woodley. So be sure to join us in less than 11 hours time, 9 a.m. tomorrow for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Then you can start your Four Nations Cup break. Then you can take a couple weeks off from Winnipeg Jets coverage. But tomorrow, 9 a.m., you best be back here to talk about the Winnipeg Jets and to join us as we discuss the Winnipeg Jets. Here's Patrick Waugh tonight on Connor Hellebuck and on the Winnipeg Jets. Again, this courtesy our friend Darren Bombing. Quote, talking about the last 10 minutes of the game, do you sort of tip your hat to Hellebuck a bit? You're right. And then we had chances, said Patrick Waugh. The power play, the first power play, we didn't do very well, but the second and third one, I thought we did really well. I mean, we had our chances, and he made some good saves. Sometimes the puck bounces your way, sometimes it does not, and tonight it did not. And then he was asked about the Winnipeg Jets' top line, the Mark Scheifele line. What makes that so difficult? Here's what he had to say, him being Patrick Waugh. I don't know if it's just their first line. I mean, I think they got 4 lines that skate well and play well, and they play the right way. So they're really well coached, and they do a really good job with that group. So there's the head coach of the New York Islanders giving praise to the Winnipeg Jets, a Winnipeg Jets team that heads to the break. The first team in the league to have gained 80 points so far this season. Amazing numbers for the Jets. 39, 14, and 3 winners.
That's insane.
In a row. You know what the amazing part is? There's 26 games left in the season. Let's say the Jets go 13 and 13. Right?
There's not even a point of using that number though, Drew. You have to keep it at like something that is reasonable.
If they go 18 and 8, that would be almost below our expectations for this team, right? But that's more realistic.
Well, but my point is, if they go 500, they win half of the remaining games. They still are going to finish with 107 regular season points. which is an
Drew
incredible
bring this
number.
up at City Place, Dave, by the way?
We did,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think it needs
True.
to be reiterated that when you're at 81
Does it?
points, it does a little bit. It does. When you're at 81 points after 56 games, it exemplifies just how dominant this team has been so far this season and how they certainly deserve their lofty place atop the NHL standings as they head to the break and now enjoy, for many of them, most of them, the next 2 weeks without hockey and the ability to sort of rest and relax, unusually at this time of the year for an NHL season.
No, obviously, Drew, I'm giving you a hard time like we always
I wasn't
do.
even
Like,
listening to you.
If we're not giving each other a hard time, I don't know why we're doing the show anymore. But you're absolutely right. Your point is well taken that this Jets team is in I mean, we're talking about a possible 120-point team this year, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I like they could hit 60 wins. I don't know if they're going to do it. I mean, but I think 55 wins, 56 wins, mid 50s is definitely more realistic. But the point is that their cushion right now, both in the Central Division and the Western Conference, is immense. That they have given themselves the luxury that they can win, they can lose 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row, even 4 games in a row, and they're still going to be first in the Central, and they're still going to probably be first in the West, right? We talk about it this year. It's this time of year. It's so hard to make up 4 or 5 points. Drew obviously, mentioned that he doesn't think the Islanders. I don't think the Islanders are going to make the playoffs either. I just don't think they're going to be able to. I think they've been a nice story that they've been able to, win 11 of 14 games and get back in the Eastern playoff race. I just don't think they're going to do it. Like, I personally think most likely the Rangers are going to probably take that last wildcard spot, but we'll see what happens. But it's going to be tight there in the Eastern Conference. But regardless, the point is that what the Jets are doing, we haven't seen this since 2017-18, but that was different. The Jets didn't start like they did this year.
The Jets ended with a flurry. Remember, after the Stastny trade is when they became absolutely dominant.
Exactly. It's the Jets have been in first place for the majority of the season. It's different. And it's almost harder to stay in first place as opposed to trying to get to first place. So it's been incredible. The home record's been incredible. The power play's been incredible. Obviously, what Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor are doing this year on the top line is incredible. And Gabe Vilardi's not that far behind, guys, right? Like, he's at, 50 points now, 51 points. Dave already mentioned that he's hit a career high in goals. He's most likely going to end up, if he stays healthy, around 35 to 40 goals. So it's really incredible what Vilardi is doing in addition to that top line, and Hellebuck. I mean, even a game, guys, in which he allows 3 goals, we're still talking about him and his incredible saves, keeping this a 1-goal game and ensuring the Jets get the clean 2 points, right? So, we talked about it at City Place. It's really hard to find something negative about the Winnipeg Jets, right? Like, you could look at a couple of bad turnovers they made, right, on the first 2 Islanders goals, but for the most part, when you look at the big picture, Dave, things couldn't be much better. I don't think it's ever been as good a time to be a Winnipeg Jets fan than it is right now.
Well, let me just leave you guys with this in terms of Jet stuff. Okay. So the Atlantic leading Florida Panthers goal differentials plus 23. The Metropolitan leading Washington Capitals plus 57. That's impressive. They're having an incredible year. The Edmonton Oilers, who lead the Pacific right now, plus 30.
They lost, by the way. The Oilers lost in regulation to Colorado 5-4.
Okay. So plus 29. So which ties them with Vegas for number 1 in their division. The Central leading Winnipeg Jets plus 68 goal differential. Like, to me,
is that good?
It is good, Ezzy. It is very good. So, I mean, that's a number. When you look at that, you think to yourself, like, the Jets have it all right now, right? They have a good defensive structure. They have the goaltending. They have the goal scoring. The special teams are working. The penalty kill's gotten better. So, and obviously the power play is phenomenal. The break is going to be important. Scott O'Neill talked about it this morning after media availability or during media availability, saying just how important it is to get Adam. Think about it. If they didn't have this 2-week break, if they were just doing an all-star, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it's going to be, Adam Lowry misses another 3-4 games. It's still possible he's going to still miss some games on the other end of the break when they come back and play in St. Louis and then home to San Jose. But the fact of the matter is you potentially lose Adam Lowry for another 4, 5, 6 games, depending on what happens with that. So instead, they give him time to heal up, Morgan Barron time to heal up. And let's be realistic, as well as they're playing, a lot of their guys are going to get a chance to heal up. So it's an important time for a break. Now, they may be on a break, and I'm not going to do a Manuk Moose Minute because the Moose haven't played for a while, but the Moose are playing 6 games over the next 8 days, which means you, people watching this show, not you, Drew, not you, Ezzy, but the people who are in our chat, I've already had someone email me for tickets, although they weren't very specific when they want to go to that game, which games they want to go to, because the Moose play tomorrow at 2 and then on Sunday at 1. Then they play a couple games during the week. So if you want to go to those Moose games, please send me an email.
I'll be there a week from Monday. I'll be there for the Louis Riel Day game.
There you go. Send me an email, dave@illegalcurve.com. You can put a note in the chat, but I may not notice it. So send me an email, dave@illegalcurve.com. Let me know which game you want to go to, how many tickets you need, and I'll fire you back some tickets, and we'll send you to the Moose game.
Well, Dave, Drew's talking about a week from now. Who cares about that? I'm going to be at the game tomorrow.
There you go.
And the
free
joke
pierogies.
is on you. I was going to say the joke is on Drew. You're not going to get in on the free pierogies. It's Manitoba Made Day.
Yeah,
Darn.
so Ezzy will be warming up the pierogies they give him for free, unless it's a voucher, which would be unfortunate for Ez because he won't be able to eat the pierogies there. But
I've been at the pierogi game before. On your way out, they hand you a bag of pierogies.
There you go. So some nice pierogies to take home.
No, but Drew, I'm going to eat pierogies during the game, and then I'm going to get my free pierogies after the game.
Well, it's funny because sometimes, at the Jets Dog kiosk, you can also just get pierogies there. So, I've done that on more than one occasion over the years.
So there you go. You're going to have some free pierogies, but it's a good thing they don't give it to people before because, of course, if people weren't happy with the game result, which with the Moose is a very real possibility.
Here comes the pierogies.
Although they're playing Iowa, who are an equally bad team right now, so that's not necessarily it won't necessarily go as bad. And I'm not going to go too quick into prospects, but when a prospect is having the game 2023 first rounder Braden Yeager is having right now for Lethbridge against the Prince Albert Raiders, as he with still some time to go in the game, game just ended, goal and 4 assists for Braden Yeager. So that's I was going to talk about
Rutger who?
Yeah, I was going to talk about Kieran Walton. He had 2 goals and an assist. I was going to talk about Kevin Yee, who had a goal and assist. Those 2 guys, 2 best friends, went up against each other in the OHL. But then we got to give some love to the WHL. Brendan Yeager, goal and 4 assists as Lethbridge rolls over Prince Albert 6-1.
Well, that does it for us tonight here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We remind everyone to join us tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. That is coming up rapidly, a little bit more than 10 hours from now. It's the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. The 3 of us, Ken Weeb, Kevin Woodley, all the chatters, all the comments. Be sure to join us 9 a.m. tomorrow for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. If you haven't already done so tonight, smash the like button, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us your feedback here, there, and everywhere, and tell your friends and family the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. And again, on Saturday mornings is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. We had a lot of fun this afternoon at City Place. Thanks to our friends at City Place for having us down there. We had a lot of fun tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow morning. And again, we're going to have a lot of fun 2 weeks from tomorrow, the 22nd of February. We'll be at Boston Pizza for a live on location post-game show and a watch party for the Jets and the Blues game. So a Saturday night get together coming up in a couple weeks time. That's the Jets' first game back after the 4 Nations Cup break. So we're looking forward to that one. Big thanks to all of you, all of our sponsors who make the show a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, our friends at Play Now, Holt Dental, Boston Pizza, City Place, and Seagram's support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. For Dave Manuk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. IllegalCurve.com has all your latest post-game coverage until 9 a.m. tomorrow. We wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow @Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.